See Mitchell, Clark,
Before she ever stepped on a WNBA court, Caitlin Clark had already done something almost impossible. She made millions of people care about women's college basketball. At the University of Iowa, Clark played a style that felt different from anything fans had seen before. Step-back threes from NBA range. No-look passes across the court. Full-court assists that looked like they came straight out of a streetball mixtape. But it wasn't just the highlights. It was the confidence. Clark didn't play safe basketball. She played like the biggest stage in the world already belonged to her. And the internet noticed. Clips went viral. Then viral again. And again. Sports accounts that had never posted women's basketball suddenly couldn't ignore the engagement numbers. A star was being built in real time. Then came the game that changed everything. The 2023 NCAA National Championship. Iowa vs. LSU. Caitlin Clark vs. Angel Reese. The matchup instantly turned into one of the most talked about rivalries in sports. Clark's swagger. Reese's attitude. Two dominant personalities colliding on the biggest stage in women's college basketball. The result? 9.9 million viewers. At the time, it became the most watched women's college basketball game in history. And something unusual happened after that night. Fans didn't stop watching. They started learning names. Angel Reese. Gabby Marshall. Haley Van Lith. For the first time in decades, women's basketball was trending every week.
Caitlin Clark is one of the best, if not the best, in girls' high school hoops, at least here in the state of Iowa in the 5-on-5 era.
In 2024, the Indiana Fever selected Caitlin Clark with the #1 overall pick. And that's when the real shock began. Before Clark arrived, the Indiana Fever were a quiet franchise. Average attendance. Average ratings. Average attention. Then Caitlin Clark showed up. And suddenly, every arena was sold out. Not just in Indiana. Across the entire league. Fans were buying tickets just to watch the visiting player. That had never happened in WNBA history. Road games turned into events. Parking lots filled up hours before tip-off. And television ratings exploded.
Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese gets right up into Caitlin Clark.
The numbers were impossible to ignore. WNBA television ratings surged during Clark's rookie season. Games featuring Clark became some of the most watched regular season broadcasts the league had ever seen. And when Clark missed several games due to injury, something shocking happened. Viewership dropped dramatically across the league. Even games she wasn't playing in saw ratings fall. One player was driving the entire sports ecosystem. And the impact went beyond TV numbers. For the first time in its history, the WNBA reportedly began approaching profitability after years of operating at a loss. New broadcast deals were negotiated. Player salaries increased in the latest collective bargaining discussions. And suddenly, women's basketball was attracting serious investment.
The effort, the enthusiasm, assertive mentality, toughness.
That's when the debate started. If influence means changing a sport's popularity, then how does Caitlin Clark compare to other legendary athletes? Take Michael Phelps. The most decorated Olympian in history with 23 gold medals. A global superstar. But swimming participation didn't suddenly explode worldwide because of him. Then there's David Beckham. A cultural icon whose fame extended far beyond soccer. But even Beckham couldn't fully transform soccer into a dominant American sport. And basketball fans always bring up Larry Bird. One of the greatest players in NBA history. But Bird's influence was mostly inside the sport itself. Clark's influence looks different. Because she didn't just dominate a game. She built an entirely new audience. But one name complicates the conversation more than any other. Serena Williams. Serena didn't just dominate tennis. She carried women's tennis for 2 decades. Her influence produced a generation of players. Stars like Naomi Osaka and Coco Gauff grew up idolizing her. Serena's impact inside tennis might be the deepest legacy any athlete has ever created. But Caitlin Clark's argument is different. Tennis, even at its peak, is mostly watched during major tournaments. Basketball is part of everyday American sports culture. Clark didn't just dominate a sport. She made people care about the women's version of a sport that already dominated American life. That's a completely different kind of influence.
She looked like she was definitely in some pain there. Missed 4 games with that groin injury.
Today, casual fans can name more WNBA players than ever before. Angel Reese, Aya Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Kelsey Mitchell. That didn't happen overnight. Clark's popularity forced fans to learn the rest of the league. And that's what real influence looks like. Not just building your own fan base, but growing the entire ecosystem around you.
Oh, he tagged him in the left, Mike. He hurt him.
And up top.
He hurt Poirier with that left.
Here's the strangest part of this entire story. Caitlin Clark hasn't won a WNBA championship. She hasn't won an MVP. She hasn't even finished 2 full professional seasons. And yet the league around her has already changed forever. Most athletes build their influence over decades. Clark did it before her career even reached its peak. Which raises one uncomfortable question. If this is what she's done before winning, what happens when she finally does?
If you would,